Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast and welcome to Tournament Talk. We are looking at tournament rosters for all of the teams that have been spawned from the Blood Bowl 2020 rulebook. We have been through league starting rosters for every team. We've been through every single star player. Now we're bringing the two together and putting together some lists that you could take to tournaments, hopefully next year when the world reopens. Every single tournament in Blood Bowl is different, really. That's just how it's always been. But we are looking at 1100 and 1200, so 1.1 and 1.2 million, because those are kind of the most common you'll see. We will be talking through skill selection as well, but again, every tournament is going to be different. So what we're going to do is we're kind of going to cherry pick and say that this is an important skill for this build and this is why. So every tournament is different, but you should have a good idea of what we think some of the best lists or the most fun lists are going to be ready for tournament season 2021. Let's have a look at Elven Union. So first up, we've got the Elf Dozen. So elves, Pro Elf, Elf Union are awesome. They are the best passing team in Blood Bowl, basically. They've just got the best movement, the best agility, the best passing, sort of. They've got some good throwing ability and some very, very good catching ability. The Elf Dozen is basically a boosted league team. You've got 12 elves, plus an apothecary and 2 rerolls. So the vulnerability of elf comes from the majority of them having armor 7, so you're going to take a kicking. What this does is it gives you 2 blitzers, 2 throwers, 2 catchers and 6 elves. So you are going to be able to punch things, to throw things, to catch things and survive 1 murder. And you've also got the apothecary there to keep your key players ready to go. So that's the blitzers, the throwers and the catchers. It is just a boosted league team and there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be playing elves, this is going to allow you to do elf things. Skills wise, these guys are tier 2, so you should be able to get some skills, maybe even a double. With 2 rerolls, I highly recommend that one of your throwers takes a leader just as quickly as possible to give you 3 rerolls. That will allow the rest of your team to perform better. From then on, you've got some really great choices because any skill you take on any of these guys just makes them better. So you've got blitzers. Now blitzers are really underrated. They're not quite war dancers. You could give them leap if you want to really go that way. But dodge, tackle, strip ball, if you've got a double hanging around, guard. These are all great skills for these guys because they come with block and sidestep. So blodge step, really, really good. Having tackle on them makes them really effective safeties and helps if you can get them onto the ball carrier themselves. Throwers, having leader gives you that extra reroll. Nerves of Steel will help your throwing. So, we're thinking Pro Elves, we're thinking actually that these guys want to be passing the ball as much as you do in any tournament. Okay, passing the ball, it increases the risk that you're going to turn it over. Okay, but if you want to do that, if you want to be doing that, I thought, okay, well, you can take Accurate, which means you're passing on a 1+, 2+, 4+, 5+, with pass. 1+ with a reroll is a very, very good prospect. Or you could take Cannoneer, which means you're passing on a 2+, 3+, 3+, 4+. So if you want to stretch the field, you could take Cannoneer as well, or instead of that, as most tournaments don't allow stacking or it's very limited. Nerves of Steel actually might be better. Now the reason for that is because the thrower comes with what, movement 6? So let me just double check. Movement 6. So the thrower is movement 6. So let's say you want to make a pass. You've got that movement of 6 squares. Nerves of Steel might actually allow you to move up to 6 squares, up the pitch, into a tackle zone, into 1,000,000 tackle zones, and make that pass. So it kind of... the likelihood is you're going to get 3 squares closer. That means +1 to all passes, which is old school accurate, which you don't have anymore. So Nerves of Steel through a thrower is realistically going to give them +1, +2 to passing. From a mathematical point of view, and therefore might be better than accurate or Cannoneer individually. The catchers themselves, so the guys you want to be throwing the ball to, Get and dodge does help because movement 8, agility 2+, their strength 3. These guys are fantastic. So you've got dodge, which can get them out of dodge, but you could also just give them block and use them as a movement 8 blitzer with armor 7. These are fantastic players. So having 2 blitzers, 2 throwers, 2 catchers, and a bunch of line elves who, I'll admit, cannot pass like they used to, but are still movement 6, agility 2 plus, strength 3 guys, gives you so much strength across the board. Now, kick. I love kick. You're going to see a lot of recommendation for that. Kick will be really useful for your elf team. Kicking deep, allowing your speed to cut your team or your opponent's team in half, will allow you to focus on pressuring their ball area if you drop the ball back, and sort of slowing down their middle guys. To think about playing a slow team like dwarves or undead, you can pin their front guys in place by creating a screen halfway. Then you end up with a situation where you've got 3 or 4 elves on 2 or 3 ball carriers in the backfield. Boom, agility 2 plus, get that ball, and you are winning. Plus the blitz is always useful when you've got this much strength. You've got the apothecary to keep those guys important as well. So that's a really solid build the elf doesn't. Alternatively, you can drop a player and max out your positionals. Well, you can maximize your positionals, should I say. So the 4 catchers build comes in at 1095, so it gives you 5k left over. Now this, you've got the same amount of rerolls, you've still got the apothecary, but what it does is you drop a line elf and develop 2 others into catchers. Well, that's not true. You drop a line elf and you develop the thrower and a line elf into another catcher. So you've got 2 blitzers, 1 thrower, 4 catchers, and that's 4 of those movement 8, strength 3, agility 2 plus catch nerves of steel brilliant players. So you've got 2 movement 7 in the blitzers and 4 movement 8 with the catchers, plus a very good thrower and 4 line elves. You've got 2 rerolls and the apothecary, so you've kind of got 11.5 players with that apothecary. It's going to basically, there's going to be a very good chance it's going to bring one of your players back when they suffer a jolly good kicking. Skills wise, you really want to be looking at leader for your thrower. It seems a shame, but actually they already throw very well, and having that 3rd reroll is just going to allow them to make your team better. So you've got 2 really different builds here. You've got the resilience build in the 12, and you've got 4 catchers, which is just going to absolutely so much movement here. 4 movement 8 pieces, 2 movement 7, all strength 3, so you don't even suffer like you do with Wood Elves or Skaven, like we saw with the Gutter Runners. Great having 4 Gutter Runners, but each of them being strength 2 diminishes your ability to get some defense. Dude, 4 catchers anywhere, they're going to get 1 die blitz. And a 1 die blitz is not a bad thing because you can give them block quite merrily, or dodge. It's up to you. Use some for scoring with dodge, use some for, you know, offense with block, which will defend you, but also you can use it to knock somebody down. You could even go wrestle with one of them if you want them to be your ball sacker, but you do have a couple of blitzers there with sidestep, so taking strip ball or guard with a double is going to really help you with the defense. Again, kick, best skill in the game. This is 11 players with an apothecary, but 4 of them are movement 8, strength 3. This is a huge list. This, I think, is going to be the one that you have the most fun with. The other one might be more consistent, but if you want to just have explosive elf plays, 4 catcher build, 1095, you're in there. But you're at a 1200 TV tournament, so those are 2 really good lists for 1100. What can you do with an extra 100k? You just max everything out. 2 blitzers, 2 throwers, 4 catchers, 4 line elves, 2 rerolls, 1 apothecary, 1200 flat. You still need to use leader to get that 3rd reroll, but this way you've got the apothecary to keep your key positionals alive. You've got 4 catchers, 2 throwers, 2 blitzers. You've got 12 guys, so if somebody does die, if a line elf dies, you don't want to use the apothecary, you can still start that next drive with a full 11. This team here is gasoline. There is nothing it can't do. It doesn't do some stuff as well as some other teams, but 2 movement 7, 4 movement 8, everybody is strength 3, and it's tier 2, so you're going to squeak in a couple of extra skills on the tier 1 teams. This team at 1200 is seriously dangerous, and deciding on how you want to go with skills, you've got great options everywhere. The blitzers, you can use them as dodge, you can strip ball, you've got 4 catchers that you can gear up to be extra blitzers. If you've got a reasonable amount of skills, say just 5 normal skills, leader on the thrower, 4 block on those catchers, you've got 6 blitzers, 2 throwers, 3 rerolls, and an insane explosive game. But wait, there's more. This team, because it's relatively cheap for an elf team, it can fit some stars in. So we're going to look at the Roxy 1200. But bear in mind that Roxy can also be replaced with Eldril. Eldril, I think, is 40k cheaper. So you don't get a lot by dropping her down. Let me just see. Roxy's 270 and Eldril, I think, is 230. 230. So you get 40k, which becomes 45k because this roster is 1195. You can't do anything with 45k. You could upgrade a Line Elf to a catcher, so you could take Eldril as instead of Roxy, but realistically, Roxy is just better with agility 1, movement 8, plus once a game she gets sprint. She's got leap as well. Roxy is just the best star player? I don't know. It's going to be real close. She is one of the best star players. So, Roxanna Darkdale. 2 blitzers, 1 thrower, 1 catcher, 7 line elves, 2 rerolls. Everything we said before about these skills is true, including that leader. You're going to need that leader to get that 3rd reroll. You've got no apothecary here, so bear that in mind. Some things you can do. You could drop a reroll, take the apothecary, and run with 2 rerolls using leader. Maybe. But what this roster does is you've got a bit of throwing, you've got the catcher, you've got 2 blitzers, and you've got a bunch of elves that can do elf things. You've also got Roxanna Darkdale, who has 270 gold pieces of sheer brilliance. And this is a roster that I don't think existed before, because I think Roxy used to be Dark Elves only. Well, Dark Elves are now sharing that fun. And you can run one of the best star players in the game, and if she dies, you've still got an elf team that's 2 blitzers, 1 thrower, 1 catcher, and 7 line elves. That's only 1 catcher less than kind of what you'd be going for at 1100 anyway. That is not a bad fail case. The real fail case is she dies, one of your catcher dies, then you're kind of middling it. But at that point, you've lost 370k, and you were never going to win that game anyway. Roxanna Darknail at 1200 can be taken by Elf Union, and you can still do Elf Union things. And last but definitely not least, we've got Gloriel Summerbloom. So Gloriel Summerbloom is 150, so 120k cheaper than Roxy. So bear in mind that you fit Roxy into 1200. You can fit Gloriel in 1200 with an extra 100k, okay? So that's huge. If you've got an 1100 tournament and you want to take something interesting and perhaps use Gloriel Summerbloom, you can take her, 2 blitzers, 2 catchers, 7 line elves, and 2 rerolls. So you get 11 great elf players and Gloriel Summerbloom, who is probably the best passer in the game. Maybe except Valen Swift. Lucian Swift, Valen Swift. The Swift twins, however, they are $400 million, so you can't really fit them in any build. I did try. Gloriel Summerbloom has got all the skills you want with the exception of leader, so the only thing you have to adjust in this roster is line elves, catchers, they can't take leader, even on a double now, which is a bit of a burn. So you're going to have to use one of your skills, and it has to be a double, and it has to be on a blitzer to get that 3rd reroll if you want one. That is the downside of this list. However, let's just pretend that you're actually going to a 1200 TV tournament. You get this roster, plus an apothecary and your 3rd reroll, and then you can use all your skills on all the other guys. There is a ton of fun here to be had, and Gloriel Summerbloom with all of that, or just chuck in the extra catcher. You could even go all in on passing and drop your blitzers down and expand them into catchers if you want, but that would be more subpar. What you're doing here is you're playing elves with the best passer in the game at 1100. 1200 just gets even better, and it was thought it was worth mentioning because it is actually a really fun roster, and I really want to see Gloriel on the pitch in Blood Bowl 2020. Maybe not playing against her, but maybe like next door, like the next game. That would be great fun. Anyway, that is going to wrap up Elven Union tournament rosters. Please let me know in the comments below what you think of these rosters, who you want us to do next. Pro Elves got good in this season, and I am really excited to see them on the pitch because I think they're going to win hard 3 out of 4 games. And that's just good Blood Bowl. Anyway, guys, I will catch you again soon. Thanks for watching.